It's the DORK Podcast. It's the DORK Podcast. Rich Keefe. It's the DORK Podcast. Hashtag. It's the hashtag DORK Podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Hashtag Dork. My name is Rich Keefe, joined as always by Davey Eyeballs. He is Raiden Von Daden. He is promo code Ron Von D. All hail the king of ginger ale. It's Ryan. Davey, how are you?
Pretty good, man. Having a pretty good night so far. Watching the Bruins. I got this going. I've got the Bruins on. You know, we're doing this whole thing. So, hey, getting down to it.
Hey, we're almost in playoff season. So that's one thing. Bruins and Celtics, it'll be TBD. If they play Monday night playoff games, we may tinker with our schedule a little bit. But we normally stream these bad boys live on Monday nights on the YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/dork podcast. You can subscribe away. Yes.
And guess what? Guess what else is coming up right around the bend too?
Oh, snap.
What's the best thing? What's the three best things about teaching, Rich?
Summer's off.
June, July, and August.
Oh.
That's it. That's a little teacher humor for you.
Oh, it's hilarious. And it's
three
good
best things about teaching. June, July, and August.
So that's right. So actually, we might be changing our schedule in June, July, and August as well.
Yeah. We have some plans for the summer, you and I, but it's going to be an interesting summer.
Yes, it is going to be an interesting summer.
I will be, as they say, how the people say, homeless for about 5 weeks. So that's fun. 5 weeks. Yep. For the entire month of July, I will be homeless.
Well, I have a couple of couches. So
that's what I'm saying.
I have a place here. You bring your microphone and we can get into hijinks.
Some camera gear. We can do, we can do fuck it. Like, what's his name? Bill O'Reilly. We'll do it live.
Let's fuck it. It's right. We'll absolutely you bring the soda and we'll have a nice time.
Absolutely. Got a case on the way.
I think things are I'm looking forward to that. There's new flavors like every week with these guys.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, they asked me what I wanted and then said, and we're going to send you one of the new flavors too. So
I know some of the new flavors.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, I hate to do this. We do have to start the pod on a little bit of a downer.
Pick of the bomb.
Pick of the bomb. Pick of the bomb. Pick of the bomb. Friend of the show and almost a smooch stolen, Tawny Kitaen, dead at the age of 59.
She didn't look a day over 80. I don't need to speak ill of the dead, but I will tell the people who are newer to this podcast who might not have heard our second foray into Comic-Con in Connecticut, the Connecticut at Foxwoods.
Right.
The story was this. So we get there and we're very excited to speak to several of the female panelists at Comic-Con, and written no more than Richard was excited to see 80s video vixen Tawny Kitaen. Now, the con was in full swing, and Tawny had not shown up yet. And Rich was on. We're kind of looking for her, and lo and behold, they bring Miss Kitaen in a wheelchair.
She did appear via wheelchair. Door opened, and doves flew out.
Yes,
there was a little bit of and so you and I turn. And a big gentleman wheeling out Miss Tawny Kitaen.
Before she looked like she had a
life.
3 Saturday nights into a Sunday,
But it wasn't one of those like, oh my God, like what? She then got wheeled to the table in which she stood up and walked over to her seat and then sat down.
Yes.
And she was fine, ?
Yeah. And she was very excited to talk to you.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart.
I said, friend of the pod. Very sad news to hear that Tawny Kitaen had passed away this week. So,
yeah, when reached for comment, that's not appropriate at all.
Now, she was married to Chuck Finley. If we're going to bring and she
Angel's ace Chuck Finley. She also had, and I'm not shaming by any means. I'm just pointing out a list of men that she had a relationship with. Obviously, the dude from Whitesnake,
David Coverdale, and Deep Purple, yep.
And she started out in like a high school sweetheart with like the guitarist from Rat.
Yes.
And so that's how she got into the game. Her first video actually was for Rat, then in a bunch of Whitesnake videos. She also went out with this was an affair, but for 2 years, O.J. Simpson. Yep. Jon Stewart from The Daily Show.
What?
Jerry Seinfeld. She appeared on one episode of Seinfeld too, by the way.
I remember that. The early episode, right?
Yeah. Season 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I think. And then she was with, I want to say David Lee Roth at one point. I
That
don't want
makes sense. That tracks.
Yeah. That's true. But Chuck Finley, she was married to. She's like 2 kids, I think, with Chuck Finley.
Yes, and they got divorced. He filed for divorce because she beat him up.
That's right.
Yes, and again, I'm not making fun. That's not making a joke. That just actually happened. That was right. Exactly.
And she also was on The Surreal Life. She was in an 80s horror movie, one of my wife's favorites when she was growing up, called Witchboard, a like Ouija board type movie called Witchboard. She was on that. She was on The Surreal Life.
I remember that.
One of the big gets on The Surreal Life. She also, and I don't know.
Is that the one where Vern Troyer made a pee-pee in the corner?
I think so. Wasn't she on the she was she like the first one?
I feel like she was on it with Ron Jeremy, and they were like weird together.
She was also, unfortunately, on an episode of Botched where she played herself. The title of that episode was Boob Trains and Big Butts.
Yes, and it was revealed in that she had 6 breast augmentations.
Yeah.
That left her a little wonky. We did not get a glimpse of those warlocks, as they said in Superbad.
No. Again, that's not appropriate, but we didn't. Also, do you know that she was the voice of Annabelle for 39 episodes in Eek the Cat, which I feel like is a cartoon that isn't discussed enough.
I think it's we've hit our quota with Eek the Cat this week.
Enough?
Yeah.
Probably enough. Now, you being a big Romans and Greeks guy,
yes,
in several TV Hercules films, she played Deianira. Yeah, who's that?
It depends on. Is she an Amazon?
I don't know. She was in Hercules in the Circle of Fire, Hercules in the Underworld, Hercules in the Maze of the Minotaur, Hercules: The Legendary Journeys. So
I Googled it, and a Deianira.
Yeah.
Or even the Romans and Greeks.
Is a Venus flytrap.
That's a tough role.
No, that's like the scientific name for it.
Oh, she just played a Venus flytrap.
No,
stationary. All right. Well, we don't need to spend
it's the wife of Hercules. Yeah.
It's
the wife of Hercules. Hercules' wife. Yeah.
I'm trying to stump you. I just
played
in the night.
Whose name is translated as the man destroyer or the destroyer of her husband. She was the one who poisoned his cloak.
Oh shit!
And that's how Hercules died. So I don't know if you guys know that. That's how Hercules actually eventually died. Because he was poisoned. His lion robe was poisoned by Deianira.
Unfucking believable, as they say. Let's hit the news.
This week in DORK.
Well, we tweeted it out this morning at Dork Podcast, the trailer for Venom: Let There Be Carnage, aka Venom 2, starring Tom Hardy. And the beginning of this trailer, Ryan, had a lot of Gremlins 2, the new batch vibes.
A little slapdick goofy.
Yeah.
This trailer, which I didn't hate it. I was like, because this movie could have gone one of two ways, and it looks like they're leaning the other way, the one I didn't want them to. I wanted this with Cletus Cassidy, who's one of the most criminally insane people in the MCU, because technically this is in the MCU. Wanted to go a little darker on this, but I don't think they're going to.
Like, is it in the MCU? I don't really know. I feel like some of the Easter eggs kind of lead you to believe that. I still think like Venom, the upcoming Morbius movie, could be maybe in like the Tobey Maguire verse, which I guess to your point, maybe that'll get tied in. I just feel like they're not on the same earth as the Marvel right now.
Well, you also have Adrian Toomes show up in the Morbius trailer. So you don't, it's
I don't know.
It's pretty nebulous right now as to what's going to happen. And this all obviously depends on what happens in No Way Home.
Right. That's going to be the biggest thing for all this. But this movie, just the trailer looks like trash.
And at least they fixed Woody Harrelson's hair.
Oh my God. True. From the end of
that wig.
Yeah. Rough.
Was brutal, but at least they fixed that a little bit. The Venom character does look decent. But again, I just wish it wasn't that goofy because I feel like
I know. I like Tom Hardy. I like the character of Venom, but it's a tough character to pull off. I would say it's one of the toughest characters to put on screen and not have it look stupid. It's tough. I think you got to go unless you're willing to go like full on horror movie with it. I think it's a tough character to pull off.
it really is. And I wanted the Eddie Brock who's kind of brooding, and the whole thing is a allegory for like drug use, right?
Yeah.
So I wish it was a little bit grittier, maybe. Not full Snyder, but something a little bit more.
No, I know. The
Edgy,
big takeaway on Twitter though for the Venom 2 trailer was
Get the fuck out of here!
Yeah, people were not happy. I'm still not. I'm the biggest Tom Hardy fan in the world, as you know. So I'm not gonna cast aspersions yet. I think my guess. Timestamp it. Timestamp it. This is going to be better than the last one.
Not impossible to pull off, and I think maybe because you have Venom, because you have Carnage. I feel like that's definitely doable. But this is coming out September 24th. So I think by then people are going to be going to the theaters. Don't you think? I hope.
Yeah, we just got some good news on that front, so I'm excited.
Yeah. Mayor of Easttown, the HBO miniseries, just had their 4th episode of 7 this past Sunday. Where are you at? How far are you now?
I'm all caught up. And I would say, this is not a spoiler, but I would say the weakest of the episodes was this week.
I would say maybe, because I've loved the show though so
it's
far.
It's great. Now that is to say, like this.
Yeah.
Some episodes have been a 9 or a 10. This was an 8.
Yeah, and it kind of moved the story along in a different way. I feel like especially the second and the third episode really wanted you to think it was this character, like Pixar character, and then the third one was like, no, it's this guy. It's a great whodunit. Whereas this one sort of opened up the world a little more because, as you knew, this isn't a spoiler even from the first one. The character that we're looking at right now, Erin McMiniman, and we're trying to find her killer. That's potentially not the only criminal out there for this like area of town. Like there's a year earlier, there's a missing girl.
Right.
There's another missing girl. So you're like, are they related? Are they not? So it really opens the door up. And I'm all in though. I think this has been awesome.
It has been awesome. And they actually did, if you guys are watching this show right now and miss Saturday Night Live, they did an amazing send up of this show, Murder Dirter, which I was dying laughing. I thought that was so funny.
That was spot on. That was really good. I have an idea, a pitch.
Okay,
pitch for you.
Pitch me.
So some of these whodunits, most of these whodunits, like a Broadchurch, a Undoing, a Big Little Lies, nah, not really, but like shows like that. They wait until the end, the last episode, you find out who it is. If after 2 more weeks we still don't know who it is, because they might reveal it in the last episode, and then it's like some bullshit at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or it's like someone you didn't even know before. You didn't even know.
Murder oil. I need to change my murder oil. So how about this? Would you be interested in a Sunday night prior to the finale, like a pre-show, where we go over all the suspects?
Yes, and I don't think I'd be able to get away with it without the lady in the next room who's listening right now. So I don't think I'd be able to get
I would like to cordially invite her as well.
You into that?
Come on, that's a good time. Come on, Ryan. Don't leave us hanging.
She's leaving us hanging. It's fine.
And she probably got 5 new boyfriends. We haven't caught anybody coming out of the house yet, but just a matter of time. She's not lonely. I apologize.
As long as you apologize. So that's a TBD. Follow our Twitter.
The fucking greatest soundbite of all time.
Yeah.
Well, it's incredible. That is Wendy Williams, obviously from weeks ago. It's so everything about it.
I don't know was she. So she must have been holding in a fart for a really long time in order for a burp to let it squeak out.
I mean, I think at that point, anything like a stiff breeze would have made her fart. So, but we're like pre-show because then we can go through it all. Because I feel like that might be good because we're going to do a standalone dork episode on the whole thing when it's over.
Yeah.
I think it might be good to have like best guesses. We can even put the characters on the screen and be like, what are the odds? What are we thinking? Assuming 5 and 6 are more of the same. Like, unless 6 at the end of 6, they're just like, it's fucking this guy. And then like, all right, maybe not. But I think the way this is heading, they might save that final hour for the full wrap up.
And that might be the very last podcast from the room I'm sitting in right now.
Ooh, commemorative.
Mm-hmm. Commemorative.
We'll
have a new bullpen. We'll have a new bullpen eventually, but
looking forward to that.
It'll be a little bit of a while. It'll be a little while. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Man's on the move. You're like the what was the fucking team that didn't have a home for a while?
The Blue Jays?
No, the Expos? No, the Expos. Didn't they?
The Expos, yeah. They played all their games on the road.
That's only that. Ryan, I don't know much about this. This is the next little bit of news as we continue with the news here. But anyway, Mayor of Easttown, let us know if you guys are watching that and would want a preview show. I think that'll be a good time. Dark Horse Comics has a book called Lady Killer. I don't know much about it, except it's going to be a Netflix movie starring Blake Lively, written by Diablo Cody. Any interest in that?
Diablo Cody for me is hit or miss. I actually was one of the people. I really did enjoy Juno.
Yeah, Juno.
And I did not like Jennifer's Body.
I did, but not for the writing.
Not for the writing or the plot or the whatever. But I did not. Anyway, yeah. So she's hit or miss for me. And then she wrote. Is she involved with Orange Is the New Black?
I think so. She's involved in a couple of other things that I didn't see, but she might be. My favorite part of Jennifer's Body, though, was this part.
Oh my God, I'm gonna freaking explode inside you. I'm gonna spill it. I'm gonna fill you up. Oh.
I'm gonna fill you up. What? I'm gonna fill you up.
Okay, just let me do the talking. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh. I'm gonna do it.
Was that Jennifer's Body? No, that wasn't Jennifer's Body. But that was
every time I have to like bite the inside of my cheek until I can't anymore because it just drives me crazy. It's so long.
So long. Oh my God, it's the best ever. Have you watched both episodes thus far of The Bad Batch?
Yes, and I actually had a wonderful moment where my younger daughter came in, and I was watching. And that's great too that we both have dirters.
We both have dirters. See, we did. We had dirters.
I was watching, and Omega was on the screen, and they had that in the whole second episode. When is she going to stay? Is she going to go? Whatever. And my daughter came and like crawled into my lap and like watched it with me, and she was
that's pretty cool.
She's like, "What's this?" I'm like, "It's Star Wars." She's like, "This is cool." I'm like, "Yeah, it is cool."
You're like, I got a few episodes of Clone Wars to show you.
Yeah.
So I have a fear. I thought it was a good start. So it is a direct continuation from the Clone Wars, and last year was the final season of the Clone Wars, which I thought was good. Mm-hmm. You check our archives. We did a whole episode. We did an episode on as many Clone Wars episodes as we could leading up to the final season, and then we did a separate episode just on the final season. If you guys want to go back and watch that, but the Bad Batch takes place right then. So you're talking episode 3, like right at the end of episode 3, and you're getting the perspective of all these Bad Batch characters. Plus, if you're a fan of Rebels, if you watch Rebels, there's a certain character already that we've seen, maybe more than one character that we've already seen from that show, which takes place years later. My one concern, this is going to be 16 episodes. The first one was an hour. The rest of them, I think, are all going to be like 25, 30 minutes. I think it's going to be kind of Clone Wars in the sense that the good episodes are going to be great. There's going to be a lot of filler, and there's going to be a couple like, what is this episode?
So the first
getting.
And the first hour-long episode was great because it was, and again, this isn't a spoiler because if you've watched any Star Wars, you know the timeline. Mm-hmm. This happens right as the Bad Batch bears witness to Order 66. And what was their reaction? That part
was cool.
Yeah, like, and their reaction.
They were going to react, right?
Yeah. And that reaction then sets up what we believe would be the rest of the show.
So I got this question on Twitter, and we just got it again in the chat. Can you watch Bad Batch without watching Clone Wars? I think you can, but I also think you're not going to enjoy it as much. So the best thing to do, and I don't know if you agree with this, but maybe there's so many people have written about Clone Wars. Maybe just find like a Bad Batch essential episode list. And that way it won't be as daunting. But I would recommend watching, be familiar with some of the characters before diving in.
And so like a character like Echo, you're going to need to know like what his deal is. What Echo's deal, because he obviously doesn't like look like the rest of them. And there's some issues with him, but you got to make sure you check out Echo. Especially with the Clone Wars episodes with them. So
probably not too many episodes. I bet in the first few seasons there's only a couple, and then it's probably the last season, and then you're good to go.
In the last season, there's like 3 episodes with them.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Speaking of Disney news, how about Loki is going to be a Wednesday show? A lot of people are upset with the Friday show. WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, Mandalorian, Bad Batch are all Friday shows. Starting on June 9th, Loki is going to be on Wednesdays, which is going to be 6 episodes.
And here's what I'm thinking.
Yes.
A lot of people travel in the summer.
Yeah.
On weekends. So they want to get that done. You know what I mean? They'll get that done. And I think it's a good idea, especially in the summer. I
agree. I think the summer is a factor. And I also wonder because Bad Batch is so long, isn't it going to overlap with Bad Batch? And it's not like they're pumping out new shows. So I wonder if they want to like separate the two.
Yeah, because you don't want to double up on one day.
We got a Stranger Things season 4 teaser. Again, we tweeted that out at Dork Podcast. You and I agree. We don't need a season 4, and it looks like they're kind of going like prequel-ish, like 11 origin. Stranger Things Stranger Things Origins : 11.
Yeah, no, we don't need that. Don't need it.
I don't want it either. Speaking of what I don't want, A Quiet Place Part 2, they released their final trailer. This is one I would say even tougher than Venom. Only in theaters May 28th. Couple of weeks away.
Which is it's funny, like these late May, early June dates snuck up on me.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're right there.
It's already fucking May 10th as we record this. We're right in the heart of this.
Seriously.
So yeah, that's coming up. I don't think that'll be a standalone because I'm not necessarily opposed to going to the theater, but I don't think I'm going to go to the theater for that.
Yeah, I don't think that I'm not going to break this whole quarantine thing just to do
that. I can't justify it for a movie. I didn't even like the first one. So one movie I will see comes out this Friday, home release, HBO Max. Those Who Wish Me Dead, the latest from Taylor Sheridan, starring Angelina Jolie. John Bernthal is in it as well. Looks kind of wild. I would say maybe a standalone, maybe not. I don't know.
I love. We could even do Taylor Sheridan movies. If you haven't seen Wind River yet, I mean, Hell or High Water is great, but if you guys haven't seen Wind River, oh my God, that movie's great. And that is Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen are in that movie.
And I think that's on Netflix still. I could be wrong. It was at one point. I don't know if they took it off, but I know that's where I saw it. Same one. I believe Hell or High Water might have been there too, but you could probably
and he's kind of like this kind of like Americana crime thing. Like he's got a lot of Coen Brothers chops to his movies, which so there's a little bit of comedy, but some real good shit from him.
So we could do either Those Who Wish Me Dead, Taylor Sheridan movies, or I have another option for next week, which I will pitch it to you later. It's going to be a part of the topic du jour. So I'm
excited for that.
So maybe by the end of this episode, we'll figure out what we're doing next week. Because the week after that, we could do Army of the Dead. The week after that, we're going to do Mayor of Easttown. The week after that, we're going to do The Conjuring. So it's starting to fill up here. The Dork schedule is getting a mighty full. How about this? Out of nowhere, yesterday, I'm minding my own business. I'm on Twitter. I'm scrolling through Twitter, and I see a story that says the Dark Universe, which I thought was dead and buried.
So did I.
It was Dracula Untold. That was shit, so they're going to scrap it. Then it was the Tom Cruise Mummy movie. Also shit. That was done. They put out The Invisible Man.
Awesome.
You and I both loved, but I was under the impression that was sort of a standalone thing. And then there's the headline that says the Dark Universe may put out a Renfield solo movie. Renfield, if you're not familiar, is basically Dracula's
familiar. He is Dracula's familiar. He's
familiar.
He's Dracula's gopher.
Yeah.
So he goes out and gets it. He needed stuff during the day. Renfield would go get it for him. He's basically like Dracula's
lackey
intern. Right?
He is his intern. Yeah, he's like, who's Dr. Frankenstein? Dr. Frankenstein has a guy too.
Igor.
He's like Igor. He's Dracula's Igor, basically. So I'm like, I didn't know what to think of it at first. I'm like, this has a chance to be just the worst movie ever, like everybody would expect, or could it be sneaky good?
Because you remember in Bram Stoker's Dracula, Renfield was played by Tom Waits. Remember that? Like, the singer, like the guy, like the padded cell, like the weird finger thing.
With Gary Oldman was Dracula.
Yeah. And Renfield was played by Tom Waits, which was like
interesting,
super weird, but actually kind of cool. But it would be, if you've seen What We Do in the Shadows, the TV series, the movie of the TV series, they have familiars. Like Diego is the familiar.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting, because all of them, there's the promise that they will be vampires at some point.
Right. That's sort of
like
the
they'll
deal.
turn them. Like that's the deal.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That might be interesting.
I'd watch. I mean, I would definitely watch.
We're gonna watch it. But we're not gonna watch it.
I think there's something there. Don't you think that the dark? So like the MonsterVerse, I think we've seen some good movies. Like Godzilla versus Kong wasn't bad. Kong Skull Island wasn't bad.
But I love this idea of seeing the classic monsters from another perspective. So like Elizabeth Moss's character in The Invisible Man was the but the Invisible Man himself was not the focus of the film.
No.
Watching Renfield work around Dracula, but not be, you know what I'm saying? Like not have Dracula be the focus of the movie might be interesting.
But I think those are such like incredible characters.
And you have to get someone really fucking creepy to play him.
Crispin Glover.
Like that, like anytime I think of someone like creepy, I think Crispin Glover. If you've ever seen the Clowny Clown video, do yourself a favor. Just, whatever.
He'd be a good Renfield.
He would be. But I'm also thinking who would be like the next, who would be good is like Ezra Miller would be like a good Renfield.
Ezra Miller. Like, could Adrian Brody do it? Or do you think Ezra Miller's a good one?
Cool. Ezra Miller would be good. He's like sneaky weird,
Ezra Miller would actually be really good. He's a good actor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, would you set it in modern times like they did Invisible Man?
You know what? I'm tired of this like Victorian shit. Like I'm tired of that. So I don't want to do. I would love a modern.
Yeah.
Because what if Dracula isn't as active as he used to be? So Renfield's trying to get him back up to speed. Like there's a movie right there.
All right, I'm in. I would watch that.
It's like that Dracula series that was on Netflix.
Yeah, so I didn't love that though.
I didn't love it either, but like the fact that he was multiple
times.
Or what if Renfield is like the Van Helsings? It's a family whose job it is throughout time is to be Dracula's familiar.
Oh yeah. Just a bunch.
The Renfield family.
Yeah,
has taken care of the
they've been second
impalers for years.
Centuries even.
Yeah,
I like it. Right, let's get to the next and maybe the most popular part of the podcast. Should I have bought this? This is the time of the program where you, the listener, send us, the podcast host, a email to dorkpodcast@gmail.com with a photo of something that you bought, the price, and if you would like a brief story behind it, then we will answer the question, should I have bought this? With a simple yes or no. And if me and Davey are split, that is when we will turn to the live YouTube chat. So Ryan, we have one we're going to use today. And I've been, so people who have sent them in, and I will get to them. I'll sort of backlog them. This one, we're going to sort of cut the line a little bit. This is a more recent entry, but what it did, it was very topical to last week when we had a separate question about if you could fill up your Dragon's Lair or your bullpen or your Brojo with arcades or arcade type machines. So this one comes in from Dan, and he says, there's a brief little story if you have time. He says he's 35 years old, and to this day, he has a very vivid memory of being at a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese. He was playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game. Some kid's mom called for him, told him it was time to go, and he pushed me away from the arcade and started playing in my stead, then told his mom he was still playing. At the time, I was a very non-confrontational kid, so dejected as I was, I didn't do anything about it. The other kid was massive in comparison to me anyway. The arcade was always super busy, and whenever someone got a shot at it, they were pretty damn lucky. Fast forward 30 years, I happened to be upon an arcade repair sales shop. I went in to just browse, and when I saw it, I just couldn't help myself. The rush of nostalgia just from seeing that arcade was overwhelming. Sure enough, I bought it on the spot. And now when we host Christmas, all my cousins, young and old, nieces and nephews, they all love playing it. Pull it up here on the screen for people to see. He apologizes for the photo quality. He says, I'm sorry for the potato quality of the picture. It's a fairly small area, and if the light is on, it's a bad glare. If not, it's pretty dark. But Davey, just describe to the podcast listener what you see here.
That's it. I mean, that's it. That is an original cabaret stand of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4-controller stand-up arcade game with the kind of odd. I remember that the thing above it where like people are playing, you could see what game it was, that little logo above it. It being really weird. It looks like the one from Turtles in Time. But it looks like it is Turtles in Time.
It is Turtles in Time,
but it looks like that's what is throwing me, is that it's the original game, but the Turtles in Time logo. Yeah. Either way, I mean, this is like he said. I mean, you look at this thing immediately and you're like, that's it.
Look at that.
If I go to Fun Spot tomorrow, I wish, my lips to God's ears, that's what I would see. That 4-controller, 4 different colors going left to right. You got blue, yellow, purple, red across, corresponding to each character, and just a hell of a game. And when we did this last week, we talked about this. This was in my top 5.
Yeah, this would be in your place. I know Goo has a version of this, like the one that they're sort of selling now. So not the original, but he has one in his house, I believe. I love it. So again, full-size cabinet, and he spent $400. $400. Again, the beautiful, sweet action of the Ninja Turtles, where you and 3 friends can play as all the turtles. You have a joystick, and you have a jump button and an attack button, and that's all you needed.
Let me ask you this, Richard. Can you put a price on fun?
This is how we do it. This is how we do it.
Oh my God, that was a no-brainer.
No-brainer, Dan. Is that Dan in the chat? Is Dan in the chat right now?
Yeah, Dan just jumped in here. He said, you're right. The banner is wrong, but it's the original game. Yeah, it's definitely the original game.
Now, let me ask you this, Dan. What is the pinball machine next to it?
Oh,
is that I see a pinball? I think that's a pinball machine.
I don't know. Is it? I don't see. You're Davey Eyeballs.
I'm Davey Eyeballs, man.
Yeah.
He said, yes, sir.
Dude, I'll tell you, that could have been $4,000, and I would have told you it was a good buy.
Now I gotta know, where is this arcade repair store?
I know. Arcade repair / sale shop.
Like if they have
Atlantis.
What?
Everybody in the chat agrees. This is a no-brainer. $400, please.
$400.
You stole that from that guy. You should go back and give him more money.
And if he's got a Street Fighter 2, you let me know.
You got NBA Jam in there? That is an absolute beauty.
I was in Goffstown.
Motherfucking Goffstown. Nice. Respect that.
Respect that.
No wonder they're out of business. They're selling that for $400.
I know. God damn it.
This is how we do it.
Right.
This is how we do it.
That was good because last
easy.
week we had a real downer. Last week, remember we had the piece of shit that Fryer had. Not my words, chat.
We didn't say that, Fryer. It wasn't us.
Oh, we liked it very much, Fryer, but it just, again, they got voted down pretty quickly by everybody here. Let's go to this.
It's time for Davey's video game minute, even if it takes more than a minute.
All right, so what do you have?
Well, as always, this portion of our Dork podcast is powered by our good friends at Wild Bill Soda. Go to drinkwildbills.com. And again, new week, new flavor, Richard.
Woo, woo. I know. They've had like 3 in a row.
Yep. Blackberry is now out at Wild Bill's.
So they have black cherry and blackberry.
Correct.
Wow.
No, it's cherry,
Mhm.
and then blackberry is now.
No, it's black. I thought it was black cherry. It's just regular cherry. Black cherry. Come on, you're the spokesman for Christ's sake.
It is blazing black cherry. So they have
What am I?
black cherry
Of course it is.
and blackberry, which are a little too different, right? So
Correct.
So use the promo code Ron Von D. Go to drinkwildbills.com. 20% off your order. Get some. You guys have been killing it, by the way. Ordering the soda, ordering mugs. Get you a sweet mug like this.
Oh,
Little translucent one. Look at that.
That's a beauty. You know what?
That's a beaut.
It's
It's
soda
insulated.
season. It's soda season.
It's soda season. It's cold drink season. So you're gonna want one of these insulated mugs.
Mm-hmm.
Veteran owned and operated Wild Bill Soda. Go there, check them out. They're great fans of the podcast. They do well by us.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, boom. All right, now, getting to the video game minute. The voice of Ghost in the Modern Warfare games, he of the skull mask, has been let go. He was on a Twitch stream.
Oh, no.
And he got canned for saying some stupid shit. He was talking about a female streamer and who was supposed to be on their live show and said she wasn't going to be on. And he said something to the effect of like, yeah, she's not going to be on because she has to be clever and she can't just rely on her grotesque cleavage or something like that.
Oh my God.
Like,
all right. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yep.
Like, come on, man.
Yep. See you later.
Resident Evil Village is now out. It's getting pretty good reviews. I don't know how I feel about these games anymore. It always seems pretty formulaic to me. Where you go into this house, there's some scary monsters, and then it turns out to just be like some science experiment. Like,
classic.
I get it.
Yeah.
We don't need that anymore. There is a reveal for Battlefield 6 coming in June. And I don't know what time period we're going with again here, but Battlefield is just like the shittier cousin of Modern Warfare, it seems. So if you like that, despite all of the legal things going on right now, Beast Boy and Raven are coming to Fortnite. And as an aside, I watched the first 2 episodes of Titans.
What do you think?
Pretty good. I have some questions.
Of course you're gonna have questions. And by the way, they won't always provide answers.
Here's the first one. Detroit? Question mark?
Yeah, what happened to Bloodhaven?
Right? Detroit?
I don't know why they landed on Detroit.
Why is Dick Grayson using Jason Todd's staff? Not Jason Todd. He's using Tim Drake's staff.
There's no Tim Drake yet.
I understand that, but like, that's Tim Drake's staff.
I don't know. He's having a time out there.
So the legal battle I'm referring to, obviously, is that Epic and Apple are still going at it in court right now. Apple alleging that Epic and Fortnite broke their contract with them, and Epic claiming that Apple has an unjust monopoly on video games, on mobile games, and did not want to pay that. So there that is. Richard, bad news for you. It seems as though the hardware shortage for PlayStation 5s will continue into 2022.
I'm never gonna get one.
I don't think you're ever gonna get one.
What I do want is a PlayStation 6, and I'm gonna just bide my time.
Start saving money now.
Yep, I'm gonna get it, save $1 a day, and by the time the PS6 is out, I'm gonna have more than enough.
And speaking of Warzone, bring it back to Warzone. So we were just talking about it. So they've done a thing where they're now in their new season, they've gone back in time to, like, I think it's 84, 86, sometime in the 80s. And what makes more sense than this? The character of John Rambo will be joining Warzone. So I'm guessing it'll be some specialized weapons. I hope there's some exploding arrows. That's right up my alley, as you know. And hopefully they make that obnoxious noise that they made in First Blood Part 2. Like that, like,
I think
really obnoxious noise.
Yeah, they should.
So.
Yeah.
And a new segment. What am I playing right now? So there's
right now.
So I'm playing 4 games concurrently. I am playing Returnal again, which is the game's awesome. I love this game. I got to play it on stream at some point just so you guys can see it.
Yeah.
I'm playing the show, obviously. Fuser, as always. I love playing that game. You guys have seen me spit hot fire and mix on that. So that's great. And Outriders, obviously, I'm still trying to get all 4 classes up to level 30. So
there you go.
So that's that. So that's what's next? Biomutant is coming out at the end of this month, which looks like it's basically like Fallout, but you're a squirrel.
Okay.
And you can, so it's post-apocalyptic. You know, you can build your character to do. It's like a action RPG with wushu, with kung fu. So, but you're a little squirrel-looking fella. No, it looks cool. It looks cool. So I'm into that, and I might be playing some Resident Evil. It depends on if it gets some traction or not. I need a scary game.
Cool.
So there's that. So there's the Davey Video Game Minute, powered by our good friends at Wild Bill Soda. Go to drinkwildbills.com. Use the promo code Ron Von D. Get yourself 20% off some soda, or some mugs, or some straws, or some little root beer fizzy candies, or I don't know, some hot sauces. Get whatever you want. It's not my dollar.
It's America. Ryan, I got a very simple question for you.
You all ready for biz?
I don't know, because this is a new venture for us. I don't know if I'm ready for this.
Well, I'm glad you asked, because it's the topic of the day. And today it is Mortal Kombat and more, because it was a couple of weeks ago since Mortal Kombat came out, plus a lot of things that sort of backloaded, if you will. Like, a lot of these probably aren't worth a standalone, but they are worth slightly more than a mention in the news or the pick of the pod. So that's why we're going to go through a bunch. And it's spoiler-ish, I'll say, because all this stuff has been out. And if you hear us bring up a title, maybe just skip a little bit if you don't want to hear anything at all about it. But let's start, Ryan, with Mortal Kombat.
Sure.
So 55% critics on Rotten Tomatoes, 86% audience, 1 hour and 50 minutes. Although a lot of that's credits. It's probably really more like an hour and 40. And it was released on HBO Max. Did you like it?
I did. I'm in the 86% here. I did like this movie.
I liked it a lot, and I think it's the best video game movie ever made. Yeah, S on those, because we did an episode, I think, a while ago on it, and it's a barren wasteland.
Oh, it stinks.
Because one of the best video game movies ever made was the original Mortal Kombat, and this is better than that.
And it's funny because I get why only 55% of the critics liked it, because it definitely was not for them. Like, this is a fan's movie.
Yeah, very fan movie. And I thought they did an awesome job, like, trying to tell a story. Like, to me, I really liked Freddy versus Jason. Freddy versus Jason is not going to be the greatest movie of all time. No. But if you just told me Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees were going to be in a movie together, and you have to come up with a reason why, I thought they did a pretty entertaining way of sort of putting a story together and moving it along. It's
and kind of
this.
And almost like, I know we're in the era of this, but like building a universe, like building or where this is scalable now, where we can bring in. I mean, I forgot at last count how many Mortal Kombat characters there have been, and they really didn't use a lot of them.
No, they didn't. Like, they kind of alluded to some. They gave you a whole bunch. Some of the classics. One of the big knocks when we first saw the trailer was, where's Johnny Cage? And they do a great job of sort of giving you the whole movie without him. And then at the end, like, where are they going to go? And so my question for you, there was a little bit of a scuttlebutt on Twitter for some kind of like ideal casting for Johnny Cage. Would you want Ryan Reynolds?
And he's the front runner, and people were, bugging him, and he's great about like responding to people on Twitter. And he was like, he did some weird Photoshop with him, like as Johnny Cage.
I think it'd be amazing. And I think it'd be kind of what this, I don't know how much of a franchise they're going to do or whatever, but talk about a boost and a shot in the arm if you got this guy in here. Oh my God. And this movie was super violent. It was exactly what you were hoping for. There was a whole bunch of fatalities and sneaky funny. I thought,
I was going to say, Kano absolutely stole the show.
Kano was not, he wasn't Deadpool funny, but he made me laugh a bunch. He made me laugh a bunch. My favorite line from Kano, well, he had several, but my favorite line was this.
Laser beam! It's better than fireballs, you pussy!
I fucking laughed my ass.
I laughed. I thought that was awesome. And when he pulls out, that wasn't the real reptile. I hope.
No, but they did that in Mortal Kombat 2, and I remember being confused at the time too. Remember, they killed him in Mortal Kombat 2, which was a mess, but it was just like a whole bunch of characters, and they killed Reptile, or was it 1? No, I think it was 2. Actually, now I'm kind of forgetting, but they killed him, and he just like turned into like a bunch of bugs, and you're like,
"What was that?" But he pulls out his heart, and he goes, "Yeah, you fucking beauty."
He was so good. He told somebody to suck his sack at one point.
Yes, he did. He went. What's it?
Tim
Rick-
Robinson from.
No, yeah, but like,
think.
yeah, I want to say Rick Kirkman, but I forget. That's the guy from Tiger King.
But the whole Scorpion Sub-Zero thing going all the way back and then kind of bringing that forward, tying it in with like the realms and like how you have to win the tournament. But it was interesting because they didn't even fucking do the tournament. Like I thought that was kind of interesting, like how they were like sort of cheating and like the bad guys are like, oh, these are the rules, but then they're gonna mess around with the rules, but they're sort of getting a group together. Kung Lao is sort of like the straight guy, and then Liu Kang and Sonya and Jax. I really enjoyed it. I didn't have time, but I was gonna try to watch it again before we did this episode. But
they pointed out too, like, but this movie was like, it did such a good job of being a Mortal Kombat movie that you respect it. But they would do stupid shit like Liu Kang meets 3 characters in the desert, right? And they're walking towards him, right?
Right.
And then he goes, "Follow me," and then walks in the direction they came from. Like stupid shit like that. Like you allow for that shit, and it's silly. It's a video game movie about people who punch each other's heads off.
But
like,
what's a better video game movie? I don't think there is one.
I don't remember. Did I put Silent Hill like up?
That movie stinks.
Does it? I like Silent
Naomi
Hill.
Watts? Yeah, it's awful.
No, I'm thinking the one with Sean Bean. The one with Sean Bean was good.
Silent Hill with Sean Bean. I thought it was Naomi Watts. Is there 2 of them?
Yeah.
Silent Hill film. Sean Bean. Oh yeah, Sean Bean. Which one am I thinking of?
You're thinking of Silent Hill. Oh, she was in The Ring.
What the fuck is Naomi Watts in? I don't know. Maybe this lady looked like Naomi Watts. Yeah, you're thinking of that 2006 Sean Bean. Yeah, I didn't think it was very good. But I thought this was better because a Hitman was not good. I didn't like Assassin's Creed. I'm trying to think what else. Super Mario Brothers is obviously awful. Tekken was okay.
How about, by the way, people are also Zac Efron for Johnny Cage. He'd do it.
He would do it. He would do well.
Ryan Reynolds, Ryan Reynolds isn't going to do it. Zac Efron might do it.
Silent Hill, 32% on Rotten Tomatoes. Not that matters because they wouldn't like any of these movies anyway.
Yeah, it's not. Is it Paul W.S. Anderson too?
It is not. It's directed by Christoph Gans.
See, I think you could make a really good video game movie. You really could. I mean, there's games that you could make.
Oh, so the chat saying the new Tomb Raider wasn't bad. I don't think I saw that.
I never saw that. The one with Vikander, the girl who was in Ex Machina. I did want to see that, but I never got around to it.
No,
I think X-Men Apocalypse came out at the same time.
Oh yeah, you might be right. But anyway, I like Mortal Kombat. I highly recommend it. It's what you would want. Like I think going in, what you were kind of hoping for, some sweet fatality action.
Oh, great ones.
More comedy than you would have expected. And just, I don't know, the movie moved right along. Good. I like it, and I want a sequel.
I wanted more Goro. I thought Goro was fucking awesome.
Yeah,
finally.
More Goro would have been good.
But now you're gonna get who's it, Kintaro, and who's the centaur there?
Fuck, what's it? Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
There's just so many characters.
I want some Baraka next time.
Yeah, Baraka's good.
Yeah.
Give me a little Cyrax.
Oh, you get all 3 of them.
Yeah,
Cyrax, Smoke, and what was the other one? The red one there?
What about Noob Saibot?
No, I don't want Noob. I don't want Noob Saibot.
You want Noob Saibot?
But talk about, was it Cole, whatever?
Cole Young, yeah, the new character.
I like that he was how they tied him in, but his suit looked fucking stupid.
Yeah, I didn't
look like a rubber suit.
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
Yeah.
Mortal
Kombat's good. It's on HBO Max right now. Check it out.
Yeah, watch that.
Good shit.
All right, Ryan, the Michael B. Jordan movie on Amazon Prime is called Without Remorse. It's a Tom Clancy book. 44% by the critics, 42% by the audience. So a rare time where they agree. 1 hour, 49 minutes. You have not seen this yet, right?
No, and I don't feel bad about it.
Yeah.
No. You get it?
Oh, Without Remorse. You're without.
Yeah. You see?
Laser beam! It's better than fireballs, you pussy!
This is what I'll say about Without Remorse.
It's better than fireballs.
It's not better than Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
If this movie did not star Michael B. Jordan, I would not have watched it, and I certainly wouldn't have liked it. I thought it was fine. I have seen 23 movies that have come out in 2021, and this is in the top half. But again, it's probably I'm a little biased. It's Michael B. Jordan. There are some really cool scenes, like there are some badass scenes like of note, but overall the movie is like kind of stupid, and I didn't think the story was all that great. And for people who haven't seen it, I'll just say for me, pretty predictable. Like they do the classic, like Michael B. Jordan, there's a couple of different people involved that like kind of like work with him, if you will. Like he's in the military, and one guy seems like he's not on his side, and one guy seems like he is. But wait a minute, it's actually the fucking other way around.
Oh, no. Yeah.
This guy who's over the top of prick actually is okay, and that guy who's kind of shady but like is doing everything like with him turns out to be the bad guy. So that
Now, hang on.
was kind of lazy.
Is there a moment where the guy who you think is a prick comes to his rescue and then gives him a little like a little nod at the end? You know,
you're not all bad. Yeah. And like one of the characters that turns out to be kind of bad is an actor. It's like you knew who that guy was. You didn't know who the other guy was, like actor wise. So you're like, all right, obviously this is gonna be something's coming up here.
So we're gonna get something here.
So I gotta adjust it on my big board. I think I might have ranked it too high. I probably drop it down a little bit.
Yeah,
it's like a 3.5 probably at a. Oh, by the way, what would you give Mortal Kombat?
4.
Yeah, I think 4.5. 4. It's like a hard on. 4.
It's good. It's like okay, like if you have an hour and a half, or like you said, an hour 45 minutes.
Yeah, give it a go.
Absolutely, like
without remorse,
definitely worth your time.
I can't really recommend without remorse. I would watch it if you really, really like Michael B. Jordan, like I do. But if not, you could skip it. The next one is on Netflix. 97% critics, 89% audience. 1 hour, 54-minute. It's an animated movie. The Mitchells versus the Machines. You saw this movie first before I did. I'll let you go.
I love it. I love this movie. Like it's a family movie, but like the jokes are clever enough. Like it's not like Shrek where they have like these adult jokes, which are just kind of like, why did you put that in a kid's movie? The jokes are accessible for young kids, but funny enough and clever enough that you're going to laugh at them. And the animation is super cool. I love the family. I love the way that they're drawn and the representation in the movie. I love everything about this movie. I love the dog, Munchie.
Oh, great stuff. The whole
like there's a gag that they do where the kids try to get Munchie to lick the dad in the face.
So good.
And it's laugh out loud funny every time it happens.
Yeah, this
How
is
did you feel about this?
Best movie of the year.
Yeah.
It's the best movie I've seen so far. And I like also how the family is by no means perfect, but that is very relatable because that is like most families. And Danny McBride is the voice of the dad. Maya Rudolph is the voice of the mom. It's a cool story too about our reliance on technology. It's sort of like an obvious thing, but they didn't go so in your face like a lot of other animated movies that I've seen where I'm like, am I being preached at right now? Like, am I being like scolded, like talked down to? Like, I thought I've seen way too many, and whether it's Pixar or not, that is, they're just up on their high horse.
Right.
Like,
So
this is Phil Lord and Chris, whatever his name is.
Phil Lord and Chris, the guys who did Spider-Verse and the guys who did the Lego movie.
Miller and Lord.
Yeah.
They did Spider-Verse, they did Lego movie. They were supposed to do the Han Solo movie, and they got booted off.
Now you're like, they fucking should have.
Hey, goddamn right, they should have. But I loved it. It was really good. It was funny, and you end up liking the characters. It was worth your time. Cool message, kind of like, and not to pull this card, but I think if you're a dad, it's also kind of like a nice.
And what I loved about this movie is you talked about like the reliance on technology, but the character, the daughter character, and I don't know if people know that I do teach Latin, but I also teach a class in digital media and production. And one of the lines I tell the kids all the time is the purpose of this class is to take your phone as something that's consumptive, as something that's productive. Like instead of just staring at your phone and taking in information, using it as a tool to create cool things. And that's exactly what the daughter does in this movie. She's a filmmaker and she does it on her phone.
Yeah,
And she
really
makes edits on her phone. And that's so what I love, like you said, it's not on your high horse where they're like, don't use your phones. It's like, no, use them, but use them to do cool things. Like, don't just take in information. Like, just use it. I mean, you think about it, the camera on your phone is better than any camera I've had my entire life until now, so like up until this point, like this is 10 times better than the camera I carried around in high school.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So you hear me, kids, use your phone for something productive. Stop looking at it. Stop swiping left and right. Like Billy D.
Yeah.
He's a big swiper, but make sure you use
Angry Birds,
Yeah.
I've always said that.
And now my pick of the pod is going to be completely, they're going to give me shit for it, but that's fine.
They're going to
continue. Yeah.
What do you mean? Billy D does good stuff. What are you talking about?
Oh, he does, but he's a big swiper on the phone. You know what I mean?
Oh,
you talk to Billy D about his activity on the phone. It's a lot of
too much. Too much. Quit swiping.
Yeah. He's like one of the only single buddies I got left. So it's interesting hearing his tales of dating these days. Interesting. I don't think I would have made it if I had to date now.
I don't know what would happen to me. I haven't really thought too much about what that world would have been.
And you'll never have to, which is fantastic.
That's right, Ryan. That's a nice positive spin on that.
Yep.
So anyway, Mitchell vs. the Machine is definitely the best. I would give it a 6 out of 6. I would watch the shit out of that movie. You?
Oh God, yeah, 6 out of 6. Watch it. I've watched it 3 times.
Wow.
Well, because my girls are like, my dirters are like, so.
Let's watch it again. Yeah, I don't blame them.
I was like, all right, let's watch it. Yeah.
Another movie on Netflix. This one's called Stowaway, starring Tony Collette, one of my favorites, Anna Kendrick, and 2 other dudes who I don't recognize.
Some guy.
Couple of guys, and they're going to Mars. And the movie basically is just them the whole time in this thing. And believe it or not, Ryan, there was a stowaway. So what was supposed to be a 3-person mission turned out to be 4. Lots of science in this movie.
Science
tons. 78% critics, 53% audience. 1 hour and 56 minutes. I don't know if I can really recommend this. Like, I think I would talk about the ending if you saw it, but it's not even worth the 2 hours just to sort of get the ending, because I don't know. I was hoping for something more than this. There's a lot of space movies, obviously. There's a lot of like astronaut movies. There's a lot of that stuff. This one has a little bit of a different twist, and like why they're in peril is different. Yes, there's peril.
Yeah, there's some peril. Yeah,
there definitely is. But again, I think it's similar to Michael B. Jordan. Like if Tony Collette, and I guess even to a lesser extent, Anna Kendrick weren't in this movie, I wouldn't have watched it. Like it was sort of like, oh, I like them, I'll watch it.
There's something about like Anna Kendrick in space that seems off-putting to me. It's like she doesn't belong in space.
Yeah, and I think she plays like a doctor in this too. It doesn't seem like, I don't know. It was
I'm not saying that Anna Kendrick is not believable as a doctor. It's just like she doesn't seem like the type of person.
Astronaut. No, I understand what you're saying. No, I'm sure she's super smart. That's not the point. I'm just saying like this character was whatever, but it was just more of the so what happens is if in a movie you are relying, no, I'm not going to tell you what happened in the movie, but I'm saying if you're relying on certain science things, it's like, all right, well then you better kind of check everything.
Yeah.
You know what? Nobody's going to watch this movie. So the guy who was a stowaway was somebody who was working on the thing and then like somehow must have like bumped his head and got stuck in a thing. But they were so anal about how much weight they even brought in on the thing. Like they make a joke about, oh my God, like you can only bring in so many grams of stuff, because Anna Kendrick's character brought in a mug that was Yale because the other guy went to Harvard. And he's like, we can only have so much grams of stuff. So you don't think before they took off, they would do like one more walkthrough?
Yeah, and like we're overweight by like 200 pounds.
Yeah. And like, so this guy got stuck in there, and then it was all about oxygen, and they weren't going to have something happen. They weren't going to have enough oxygen
because there was an extra person in there.
Yeah. And it was like a whole fucking thing.
And if you've seen like any footage of, I know you've studied them at length, but of space flight, yes, like the amount of precision that takes in order to do that successfully, and the amount of checks that happen before the launch even happens, There's
Yeah.
no way. I mean, the suspension of disbelief in sci-fi is what it is, but like you
Right.
said, if you're providing details at the beginning of the movie like that, you got to stay consistent.
I know, and that was definitely my problem. I'm like, all right, so they just like let this guy go, and nobody was like wondering where he was, and you have to like sign out or whatever. But then I was like, I thought because this guy also wanted to like eventually apply to that program, so it would have made more sense if he like snuck on. But he apparently said that this happened to him. They kind of believe him, and they never really like address it. Like it would have been cooler if he was like, I'm just gonna fucking barge my way on. The best line though in the entire movie was this.
It's snakes out there this big.
Yeah, snakes on a astronaut.
But yeah,
So
not for me.
yeah.
Not for
So,
me.
anyway, I don't really want to say the ending, so I'm not going to. But so that's stowaway. All right, let's get into a couple of documentaries.
Yes.
First one, 3 episodes on Hulu. It has got a 90% by the critics and only 60 by the audience. And that would be Sasquatch.
Now, I thought this was pretty good and pretty well done, but I believe I was sold a bill of goods here that they did not deliver on.
That is why I believe you got the 90-60 split on Tomatoes. Because you're right, they pull you in with Sasquatch. We all love cryptids. We did a whole goddamn episode on cryptids. We like Bigfoot. We like the Yeti. We like the abominable snow monster. We like the whole goddamn thing. And the big tagline for this was Bigfoot murdered 3 people on a dope farm in Northern California. And you're like, say what? And apparently there was like either a witness or like this was just this story. And I will admit that it definitely kind of, you show up for Sasquatch.
Yes.
And you ended up kind of staying for this other story about how the weed that they grow up there, because of all of the fucking altitude and the temperature and the climate and everything, that's the best weed in the world. But it's super dangerous. And people have these dope farms and they have these machine guns and they guard it and everything else. And long story short, we are going to spoil this. So if you want to skip ahead, feel free. But
it's not actually Sasquatch.
They can't prove Sasquatch at all.
No.
Now, they don't prove that he's not. They don't prove that he doesn't exist. They just prove that it wasn't him because some guy did it and he basically wanted to start a rumor that he knew would spread and would scare people up in that area.
Yeah, and so this is what, around the 20-minute mark of the second episode, I'm like, I know where this is going. And it went that way. So you spend the whole first episode and a half kind of learning about this area. And what's fascinating about it is, like Rich said, there's 3 counties in Northern California that produce this. They call it the Jade Triangle.
Oh yeah, there's like these 3 towns. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's they produce the best cannabis, in some of the best cannabis in the world. And they go into the history of it, where like in the 60s and 70s, like these hippie people went off the grid and started living there and started growing marijuana as a means of income. And then in the 80s, they had the big war on drugs. And like, so that to me was fascinating. And one of the best, I forget his Moondance is the guy's name, who's he was fascinated. Emerald Triangle, not Jade. It was Emerald Triangle. He was fascinating to listen to because he'd seen the whole thing. And they brought in, what do they call it? Camp, like these FBI agents who were like flew in on helicopters and just like burned all their shit and left.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like that to me was fascinating. And what again, I was sold that this was going to be like a cryptids thing and that they were going to be these weird people. First of all, I do want to mention, and I don't want to play my hand a little too much, the guy who did the journalist who was the main guy in this thing.
Yeah.
I forget his name. But he looks exactly like a specific type of actor who was in a movie called Pirates.
Okay.
I believe he was in Pirates 2 Stagnetti's Revenge.
Yeah.
He looks, I forget the dude's name. He's a male porno actor.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he looks
Actually, I think I have a clip.
exactly like him. Like I thought it was him when he showed up on screen. I was like, wait a minute, that's that guy.
Might have been.
It wasn't. I looked into it, and I forget the dude's name.
Well, what happened was it was basically 2 different documentaries because the guy that apparently looks like the guy from Pirates, he interviewed so many people, and one of the draws of it was he hired a private investigator. And this is always a great sign, like in movies or in a documentary, when the private investigator quits because it's going to be too dangerous. That's when you know you're in for some good stuff. But he did spend a lot of time talking to people who believe in Bigfoot, think they've seen Bigfoot, all these kind of people, which was cool, but it was also like, you kind of know this ain't what's going to happen in the end of this show. Now, what was really funny is now the very, very famous, the one time we feel like we've seen Bigfoot was from the 1967 Patterson Gimlin film.
That's for the Patterson Gimlin film. Yeah.
Famous, like the guy, like the Bigfoot walk, he stops, he's like, huh? And he just keeps walking. So the guy who claims he was in the suit, they interview him. And they also interview, I think, Roger Patterson.
I say Robert Pattinson. Like, really?
Robert Pattinson. They interviewed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in Twilight. Probably a mistake. No, they interviewed Patterson, and they also interviewed the guy who claims that he was in the suit. And he's like, yeah, they like paid me to wear this suit, and I like walk down or whatever. And he's like, but Patterson maintains that they actually saw Bigfoot still to this day. And one of the great lines was the guy that was in the suit, or again, allegedly was in the suit. He's like, yeah, you know, I still see him, or I still see Patterson around town, and you know, I'll wave, but you know, he doesn't. And then off camera, his wife goes, no, he waves to you. Yeah. He goes, what? He does? I'm like, I don't believe this guy for shit. Like, say hello, but he won't even wave. Yeah, he does.
He does. I did like the history. I did like learning about the area. I did like learning about like the Hells Angels involvement in this whole thing. I thought that was like super cool.
Yeah.
Scary. Like, and they, it's the juxtaposition of like this, like beautiful, you know, where the redwoods are, like this redwood, you know, national park, and like how dangerous this place is. And what was the name of it? It was, what's the name of the road?
Oh, I forget.
I forget the name of the road, but it reminded me of a sweet Steve Earle song called Copperhead Road, which basically like it's a known road. You don't go down that road, basically. Because that's where all like the hardcore like guys, and they said there's all these like ex-hippies with like M14s. Like, I thought that was like one of the coolest things. So
I wouldn't last a day there. But again, the Duplass brothers, they produced this, and it's definitely misleading because if you just said, hey, there was a death on a dope farm, I wouldn't have watched it.
Like, 3 guys died, you know, but what do they call that?
A lot of people died up there.
And what do they call them? The chatterbox.
Yeah.
Like, they told the guy who they knew would tell everybody like this story.
Yeah. Well, that was the other part of it too, was they're like, oh yeah, like there was like a witness or whatever, and you know, obviously the joke was like, oh yeah, he must have been high. No, he wasn't high. He was on crystal meth.
He was on meth. So
the guy that claimed that Bigfoot killed everybody was on crystal meth. But I would watch it, but again, it's kind of a bill of goods. Here's another documentary for you on Netflix. It's a 4-parter. It's called Sons of Sam. This is shocking to me. 38% by the critics on Rotten Tomatoes, 67 by the audience. You know me, I've seen a ton of true crime documentaries, a lot of serial killer documentaries. I thought this was excellent because it wasn't just reading Wikipedia. It was, for at least for me, a lot of new stuff. Like I didn't know most of this stuff.
And so correct me if I'm wrong, because I didn't watch this, but correct. So there's a theory that a detective had that it was more than one guy.
Yeah, so actually not a detective, but just sort of like an investigator, like a guy who's like a reporter who ended up writing a book. And so they also have police from that time. And I won't give it all away, but there's a police who's like maintains like, no, it's fucking David Berkowitz. He said it was him. It's him. We caught him. It's him. The evidence that it's not just him is pretty convincing to me.
And one of the things they show in the trailer, so this isn't a spoiler, is like the police sketches of what the guy looked like are so different.
Don't look like him at all. And they're like, well, you know, how consistent are some of these? And like you're talking to like scared victims, and like, no, like we do a lot of these, and they end up looking like them. And oh, by the way, one of the other guys that it could have been looks a lot more like the sketches than Berkowitz does. But they get into. So what's interesting is, so Sasquatch, sort of the opposite, where Sasquatch is like, hey, it's a Sasquatch thing, and then it's this, and then it's not Sasquatch. Sons of Sam is like, hey, it's like a serial killer, Sons of Sam, and then you're like, oh, it also has to do with maybe like a cult and maybe Satan shit and maybe like other, you're like, what? And they kind of connect another really famous like bad guy, I would say, to him on that wasn't from like similar time, but not in New York. I'm blown away by the bad reviews on I didn't read them. I should go and read them, see what they say, because I thought it was
Yeah,
excellent.
I'd be interested to see it. So yeah, I'll check that out. Because I'm in the
Because like Night Stalker was good, but this was better. The Gacy one was good. Yeah, the Gacy one was good. The Gacy one's on Peacock. But I was blown away by this. And then also what you can do as a little companion piece, what I did after this was I went to season 2 of Mindhunter, the show that we love that got canceled.
Yes.
They interviewed David Berkowitz in one of the episodes, and it's played by the kid who was in Red Oaks, that show on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
He's like really good as Berkowitz, because Berkowitz was also the one that was like, oh yeah, like my neighbor's dog told me to kill all these people, and you're like, what? And then, but like, is he just fucking with us?
Yeah,
like,
I think he was like, I think in Mindhunter they alluded to the fact that he was probably just.
He's still alive too.
Yeah.
Berkowitz. Fucking crazy. This guy, then like in the 70s.
Yeah.
I was blown away by this. All right, 2 other things real quick here. Both on Netflix. One is a movie called Things Heard and Seen. Amanda Seyfried is in it. 39% critics, 27% audience, 2 hours and 1 minute. I watched this with my wife.
I almost watched it, and I'm talking to you off the air. I'm glad I didn't. I almost did.
Pile of shit. An absolute pig fuck this movie was. Like, what they tried to do was, you could tell they were influenced by a bunch of horror movies, and they're like, let's do a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this. Nothing
Worked.
And I had a sense that there wasn't a lot of buzz about this movie, and it was a Netflix original, so I'm like, this probably won't be good. But like, my wife doesn't love all horror movies anymore, but she'll watch ghost stuff, so I'm like, all right, this could be good. Holy smokes.
Ghost Whisperer. Did she watch that?
Yeah, we should. I'll watch that again. But don't stay away from this one.
I'm not gonna watch that one.
From this one. All right, last thing. Now, this is my pitch for our episode next week.
Okay, so this is the one you're gonna pitch me.
Yeah, we could do Taylor Sheridan. We could do Those Who Wish Me Dead. Maybe we'll do even a poll. Actually, maybe we'll do a poll unless I sell you right now.
Time out before you pitch me.
Yeah.
The name of the actor I was talking about earlier, his name is Evan Stone.
Is snakes out there this big?
Oh, yes, there are. Evan Stone. Look him up and then watch Sasquatch.
All
it's
right.
the same goddamn guy. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Yep, Mortis X on Twitter. Yep, Things Heard and Seen, worst ever. Wasted fucking time. You're right. All right, so this is a series.
Yes.
8 parts on Netflix. It's based off of the comic book. It's called Jupiter's Legacy. It's a Mark Millar book.
Which,
it's
so shocking to me.
So it's a part of Millar World, which Netflix has bought. So they're going to be adapting a bunch of Mark Millar stuff. So for those who don't know Mark Millar, I would say, Rye, easily a top 10 comic book writer, maybe in some people's top 5s, including Civil War, Old Man Logan, Kick-Ass, Nemesis, The Kingsman. He had a bunch of runs on Fantastic Four, and I'm probably leaving out some.
You're leaving out like a ton of stuff. Like, I mean, he's unbelievable.
Don't you think like this guy is great? And so when you heard Netflix is going to adapt a bunch of his stuff, because I basically, on that list, he's worked with Marvel a lot, but then he's also done some of his creator-owned stuff and things like that. And so this one I was completely unfamiliar with. I've read almost everything I just mentioned right there, but I have not read Jupiter's Legacy. First takeaway, horrible name. Fucking dog shit name. Second, it looks atrocious. I was like, is there a catch? So Josh Duhamel plays, and now I think what's also an issue for this Millar world, which could be DOA, but another issue is we've seen The Boys, we've seen Invincible, we've seen non-Superman Superman, right? Like characters that sort of are like that. And so Josh Duhamel's character is called the Utopian. and it's a show that bounces back from present day to the past. You're trying to like learn about the powers and things like that. I think it's worth talking about, but I'm telling you right now, it sucks. So I don't want to make you watch 8 episodes.
No,
they're all under an hour, and the finale is actually like 35 minutes. But I'm telling you, it's weird. Like, so it stars Josh Duhamel and Leslie Bibb, and then like a few people that I've never seen before. But I'm like, it's Mark Millar. Like, it's got to be good. Like, all those other books are great.
like Mark Millar
Yeah.
wrote, as you said, he wrote Kick-Ass, he wrote Kingsman, he wrote Wanted.
Oh yeah, Wanted. Which, by the way, if you didn't like
Time
the
Out.
movie, that's loosely based.
He wrote a little book called Civil War.
Were you listening to me a second ago?
And did you say Old Man Logan too?
Laser beam! It's better than fireballs, you pussy!
Did you say Old Man Logan?
Yes.
No. So I'm looking at all these like fucking.
I know he's got a great resume or bibliography or whatever you want to call it.
So Wanted was the one you missed.
Yeah, I didn't say Wanted. Yeah. And again, that's the Angelina Jolie, James McAvoy movie is loosely based off of Wanted. I think
the graphic novel Wanted is way different.
Yeah.
And it's fucking awesome.
Yeah. But like, I think they should make Nemesis. Nemesis would be sick if they made that into a movie.
Nemesis would be awesome.
Yeah. But this was, but here we go. Maybe joke's on me. 8 episodes. I watched the whole thing this weekend. So
there you go. Joke's on you. I am going to watch this. I'm going to watch this, and I will get back to you because I'm interested in seeing. Oh, by the way, shout out to our boy Mark Millar. Also wrote Sharky the Bounty Hunter.
Oh, what up,
Shout
Shark?
out to our boy Brian Sharky, Sharky the Bounty Hunter.
What up, Shark? That's pretty good. All right, so that's all the shows right there. Again, Mortal Kombat, Mitchell's versus the Machines, Sons of Sam would be the 3 that I highly, highly recommend. Without Remorse, Sasquatch, maybe Stowaway, Things Heard and Seen to take a hike, and then Jupiter's Legacy. I'm telling you, it's not good, but I think there could be a lot of discussion there.
A lot we could talk about. A lot to talk about there.
I think so. I think so. So either we can decide this week, or maybe we can do a poll. Also, this Friday we'll watch the new Sheridan movie, so we'll find out. Maybe that could be a piece of shit too. I have no idea. I don't have a pick of the pod. Do you have a pick of the pod?
I do. So you'll actually love this. And again, I spent this whole time. I got off my soapbox talking about using your phone productively. I have 2 apps, Richard. One paid and one free. And the free one, I really think you'll like. So
it's free. Yeah,
it's so there is one of my favorite games that I played on Steam for free is a game called Lo-Fi Ping Pong. If you like lo-fi hip hop and ping pong, so you play ping pong. It's like an 8-bit arcade game, but you play ping pong to like a beat.
Okay. I like that.
And it's 99 cents. So it was the game of the week last week, and it's awesome. The other one, there is a app for free called Dead Man's Phone, which it's a game where you're a Scotland Yard detective solving murders using the murder victim's phone.
Oh,
and it's free.
God. What's this called again?
Dead Man's Phone, and it's for Android and iPhone. And it's BAFTA nominated for like best video game. Like, it's gotten insane reviews. I just got it today. I just heard about it today. I just got it. I figured I would tell everybody about it, and you guys can tell me what you think.
All right.
It's called Dead Man's Phone. Check it out.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like a murder mystery.
You like a murder mystery and you like free stuff. I figured that was right up your alley.
I do very much. Very, very much.
So if you guys check that out, it is actually it sounds pretty cool.
I like it. All right. So you know what that means, guys. You can email us, dorkpodcast@gmail.com. Tell us what you thought of this list. Was there anything that you really liked, really didn't like? Anything else that we may have missed over the last month that was worth watching? And let us know what you think we should do next week. And as also, if you have any submissions for the Should I Have Bought This, send that there to dorkpodcast@gmail.com. Twitter and Instagram @dorkpodcast. And on YouTube, every Monday night, we stream these bad boys. You can subscribe to the channel as well. YouTube.com/dorkpodcast will get you there. Davey's on Twitch occasionally, twitch.tv/rvaughnd. You can rate, review, and subscribe on the Apple Podcast as well. We like a nice little 5-star review. It's not going to kill anybody. And Facebook, We have the Facebook shared Gooniverse, #Dork shared Gooniverse page. You can give that a like. That's Mac and Goo, Pop Culture Pile Driver Podcast, Change My Mind, TLDR, Shime, Dr. Joe, and Davey all on Twitch. That's a lot. You got anything else?
No, man, this has been a long one, but we're having fun.
Yeah.
You know, time flies when you're having fun. But
what do you think about doing like a 3-hour podcast every Monday night?
We should do it for like a subathon, like until we get like, you know,
yeah, we need
to get paid.
Yeah, that'll happen.
We'll just do like a subathon on Twitch, 24-hour stream.
Come on, we'll both be in hot tubs.
I know
that'll work.
Selling the bathwater.
All right, what do they say about wombats?
Square poops, babe.
Or would you be spanking my bare butt, balls and back?